Ok, allora dobbiamo fare questa. Perfetto.
Perfect. It's you two. I have a commission here that has your names written all over it. In fact,
The only ones for the job? Huh. If our help is really that important, it's probably some Archon class commission.
the Adventurers Guild doesn't employ that kind of classification system. All it asks us to do is to find a missing person.
Ok.
Huh?
Ma
Then
magari
why
a
did you say we
battute.
were the only ones for the job?
I came across this commission while reviewing our backlog. It seems simple, but our records indicate that over a dozen successive efforts, with the reputation of the Adventurers Guild and the
Well, that's us for sure.
All I'm asking, if it proves to be beyond your capabilities as well,
Okay, so who are we looking for?
this commission was jointly issued by the residents of Vimara village. But the problem is, they don't know the missing person's name.
They're all from the same village, but they don't even know his name? If so many adventurers have failed to complete this commission, maybe this missing villager doesn't exist at all. Could it be some sort of a prank or something?
Unlikely. Several villagers came by to issue the commission, and judging by their appearance and tone of voice, they seemed incredibly sincere. It certainly didn't seem like a joke to them. Besides, putting up a commission requires a processing fee. There aren't many upsides to a prank that costs Mora to carry out. In any case, it would probably be best to go to Vimara village and ask her.
Alright then, let's go!
Vediamo se possiamo richiedere anche... Ok. Se possiamo richiedere il giornaliere.
Anyway, so the contaminated region turned out to be a ley line effluence deep in the forest.
I see. Thank you for your hard work. Once the excess ley line energy dissipates from the air, we should be able to make an announcement for residents. This is the stipulated reward.
Is Karkata going to be sent back to the academia? It's already damaged, but Paimon feels sad thinking about it getting Oh, then how about we find Tainari tomorrow? Paimon really wants to go right now, but Tainari said that we would Alright then, we'll find Tainari tomorrow and tell... I think we should ask him.
Keep your voice down. The lilac daphne, a daphne of the genus Thameliaceae, has a strong... Extrapolating from these two data sets, it would be particularly...
Karkata?
I thought I told you all to keep your voices low. Plants aren't afraid of noise, but your shouting is making my ears ring.
You didn't disassemble Karkata?
Why would I do that?
But Paimon thought you said...
So that's why you two barged in like barbarians at this hour. What I meant was, according to the Academia's policies, all products of research must be... Anyway, the first thing I did was repair Karkata. During my time at the Academia, I took an We then buried Abatui together. After organizing the research materials, I kept some as a souvenir. I'm not with the Academia, so what do their policies have to do with me? On the other hand, all life brought forth in this world has meaning, and Karkata is no exception.
That's great! just said life form.
The possibility exists is all. It's hard to explain Karkata's efforts. Abatui only left behind a small portion of his research. Who knows how many Maybe a conflict between all those commands resulted. From a more rigorous perspective, it is impossible to conclude that Karkata is a real life form. By the way, I'm not interested in continuing research, but as things stand now, it wouldn't be a bad idea to make it my research assistant. What do you think?
Ecco fatto. Abbiamo finito finalmente la missione di Tainari.
Made it to Vimara Village! Why don't we talk to some of the villagers to learn a little bit more about the missing guy? If this commission...
Basta che non è Batui.
Hello there. You looking to buy something?
Oh, no, we're adventurers. Catherine sent us to...
Ah, so you're here about that then. You're not... To be honest, we aren't holding out much hope. Many adventurers have made their way out here. We've pretty much had it up to here in questions, and the area around the village has practically been over.
So, this person we're looking for, what?
I don't know. I really have no clue.
Okay, guess you are really sick of answers.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to sound short with you. I was actually just giving you my answer. I know it may seem like we don't have anything to offer by way of information, but I promise you, we all have we just don't know the specifics. Maybe we did. At least that's what everyone in the village seems to think. We've all...
Alright, specifics aside then, what...
Young guy. In his early 20s, probably.
No, non può essere
Incredibly
lui.
kind sort of person. Always... I'd chat with him when I didn't have any customers. I even saw him stick out his...
Now that you've started talking about him, you don't seem nearly as down in the dumps as you did before. Seems like he...
But of course, everyone in the village is pretty fond of... There aren't many young people like him nowadays. So genuine and pure. To think that he just...
Could he have just moved away without telling anyone?
No, he's not the type to leave without saying goodbye. And anyway, moving away without being seen by a single person in the village? There's no way he would have been able to manage that.
Huh. Alright, thanks for the information.
Ricordiamoci che qui non siamo a Natlan, quindi affoghiamo. L'abbiamo già
It's
visto
that
sto signore.
guests I hear.
O gli somiglia.
Hi, Grandpa Amadea. We're here to help you look for the guy that's gone missing.
Ah, so that's what brings you to these parts.
Could you tell us a bit about him?
Of course. With my failing eyesight, I'm afraid I can't offer much about his appearance. I don't think his parents are still living in the village. But somehow he never seemed He would often take time to visit the elderly. And whenever someone had something on their mind, as the village chief, I owe him many thanks. Helping village...
Wow. He seems like such a nice and gentle person. But, you wouldn't happen to know any details about his...
I'm ashamed to admit it, but I just can't remember. No matter how you look at...
It's okay. There's no need to force yourself to try and remember.
Però è strano.
Well, Traveler, what do you think? Paimon thinks so too. Like, the name thing. It's so weird that no one remembers his name. And nobody has been
effetti.
able to tell us anything about his family or where he lived? Wait, so you're saying it's not that he's been erased, necessarily, but more like he never existed to begin with? Okay, Paimon's gonna need some time to process that one. Someone who only exists in people's memories?
You two are the adventurers who just arrived, right? You're here for the Vimara Village Commission?
Yep, sure are. We were just looking into the case.
I'm so glad to hear that. Thank goodness you haven't given up. My name is Atosa, by the way. I grew up here in Vimara Village.
Meglio non
No need
promettere.
to worry. We'll give it our best shot. So, were you close to the missing villager?
I'm not sure this counts as...
Is this the place? Under this tree?
Yep. I know it doesn't look like much, but this place is very meaningful to me. It's so full of memories. We used to always sit together under this tree and talk. Sometimes we would look up at the clouds in the sky, or stop to feel the wind against our skin. We could sit there for hours at a time, never realizing how long it had been. I was actually adopted by the people of Vimara Village. The forest rangers found me in the woods as a child. I was surrounded by such good people, and growing up in the village was so lively. Still, there were times when I couldn't help but feel incredibly alone.
Alone?
How should I put it? When something's bothering you, or when you have good news to share, you always want to talk about it with somebody. But for the longest time, I didn't know who I could talk to, or if I should say anything at all. Everyone has their own problems to deal with. Even if I might want to confide in others, I don't want to become a burden. Really? You know exactly how I feel? Wow, that sounds really nice. You're quite lucky. When it comes to our missing villager, well... I guess you could say that to me. He felt like both a family member I could rely on and a friend who could really understand me. No matter what came my way, I knew I could always talk to him. He was so thoughtful and pure, and patient too. Whenever I talked to him, he would always seem so interested, as if the things I was describing were just as important to him as they were to me. Ever since he disappeared, there's been so much I wanted to tell him. No, none of those things matters now. I just really want to see him again.
Wow. You two must have been really close. Did he ever tell you anything about himself?
He mostly just talked about interesting things he saw around the village. He'd share a lot of his own wild ideas as well. Oh, right! I did ask him about his parents once. But all he said was, they're not here anymore. I didn't know whether that meant they had left the village or passed away, and I didn't want to pry.
Still not much to go off of.
Look at me. Talking your ear off and still nothing to show for it. I'm sorry I wasn't more help. The last time I talked this much in one go was when we were still together. Come to think of it, every time we talked, it always seemed to be around dusk, just like right now. Time always passed by really slowly. Even when it felt like we'd been talking for hours, the sun would still be at the same position in the sky.
Well, time always seems to pass slower when you're relaxed, right? What's wrong, Traveler?